Welcome to The Explainer. Get ready, because we are about to embark on a seriously mind-bending metaphysical journey today. We're diving into a highly unconventional source text called The Power of Thinking by Xu. Now, as someone who loves unpacking these complex, out-there ideas, I find this text absolutely fascinating. It literally asks us to throw our everyday understanding of physics and reality right out the window. We're going to explore this radical claim that our thoughts aren't just, neurons firing in the brain, but an actual, tangible, universe-altering force. So, let's just jump right in. Okay, let's dive into this. Feng actually kicks things off not with some dense scientific theory, but with a deeply eerie anecdote from a 1997 issue of Reader magazine. It's about a man named Zhang Zhendu. So during what was supposed to be just a totally casual chat with a friend, someone asked Zhendu what the most peaceful way to die would be. And his answer? Highly specific and honestly pretty unusual. He flat out claimed that the absolute best, most peaceful way to go was by falling from an airplane. Kind of strange, right? But Feng uses this exact, offhand comment to anchor the entire philosophy of the text. To understand why that specific quote matters so much, we really have to look at how the timeline played out. Prior to 1958, Zhenduo makes this weird claim about airplanes. Fast forward a bit to October 17, 1958. Zhenduo is actually leading a cultural delegation on a flight to Afghanistan. And tragically, at the age of 61, his plane crashes and he passes away. Now, Xu argues that this isn't just some tragic coincidence. No way. According to the text, his death in that specific manner wasn't an accident at all. It was a direct, self-fulfilling manifestation of his own thinking. Basically, the author is suggesting that Zhenduo literally thought his fate into existence. Section 1. The energy of thinking. Now, you might be wondering, how in the world does a simple thought cause a real-world physical event? So the crucial point is exactly how Feng defines the very act of thinking. The author doesn't see thinking as just biology, neurons firing away. Instead, thinking is defined as a form of non-material that communicates with negative cosmic energy. In this framework, your thoughts are essentially acting as this unseen, invisible cosmic antenna. You're beaming signals out into the universe, tapping into forces that sit totally outside our standard understanding of physics. Building right on that definition, the text makes this massive, sweeping claim about human agency. According to Xu, the path ahead of us isn't determined by our physical actions. Actually, let me repeat that because it's a huge shift in perspective. Our paths are controlled entirely by our thinking. The claim here is that once your thinking is totally locked in, the energy of the universe just aligns to make that thought a reality. And interestingly enough, the author explicitly mentions being super reluctant to dive too deep into the exact mechanics of this law, warning that if people fully mastered it, they could easily use it to cause harm. Section 2. Defying physical reality. So if thoughts really can marshal the energy of the universe, what does that actually look like in practice? Well, according to the author, mastering your thoughts lets you perform feats that completely break the fundamental laws of nature. The text lays out 5 highly specific extreme scenarios. First, taking a totally blank piece of paper to a bank and cashing it as a flawless check. Second, just walking straight out of a locked room. Third, walking across the surface of water. Fourth, strolling into a heavily guarded location as if you were completely invisible. And fifth, standing on a high-rise building and just flying to another building without any tools or gadgets. And remember, the author presents these not as fun metaphors, but as actual, literal possibilities unlocked by cosmic energy. And this brilliantly illustrates the specific mental method required to actually pull off these impossible feats, according to the text. It's a rigorous 3-step process. Step 1, you have to entirely eliminate the presence of tangible objects from your thinking, meaning you must truly, fundamentally believe that the wall or the locked door just doesn't exist. Step 2, you must have absolute zero doubt or fear in your mind. This is the ultimate catch right here. The author states that if even the tiniest trace of doubt creeps in, you fail. You'll just smack right into the wall or the guards are going to spot you instantly. Only with pure, unadulterated belief can you reach step 3, which is performing the physical feat itself. Let's focus on that water walking example for a second, to really ground ourselves in the radical perspective this text is demanding. There's a quote that says, "Those who can walk on water don't perceive it as such beneath their feet." Just imagine the sheer level of absolute belief the author is describing there. To walk on water, you can't just cross your fingers and hope it holds you up. You have to mentally eradicate the very concept of water as a liquid. The text warns that the second you start to panic, or even question the water's ability to support your weight, you sink immediately. It's like the physical environment is completely subservient to your mental state. Section 3. Conventional versus unconventional minds. Let's move to and see how this builds a clear dividing line between two totally different types of readers. On one side, we have conventional thinking. If you hear about walking through walls and you immediately think, okay, that's just fantasy and delusion, well, the author says you're perfectly normal. You're representing rationality and a standard scientific mindset. But on the flip side, we have unconventional thinking. If you actually find these extreme physical feats interesting, the text asserts that you recognize the superficiality of our material world. Neutrally speaking, Zhu Feng's text clearly rewards this unconventional mindset, really suggesting that stepping away from standard science is exactly what positions someone to unveil the deeper mysteries of the universe. Section 4. Mastering the Cosmos. So, bringing it all together, the text states that thinking is quite literally one of the most potent energies in the entire cosmos. Mastery of this energy wields boundless power and invisibly influences life and death. And this ties perfectly back to that opening story of Zhang Zhendudo, right? His thoughts invisibly influenced his own death. According to Xifeng, accessing these higher realms of power has absolutely nothing to do with physical strength or wealth. It depends entirely on internal self-cultivation and self-improvement. In this view, you are the architect of your reality, right down to the molecular level. So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a direct challenge straight from the text. If thinking truly is the universe's most potent energy, which side of the line do you stand on? Are you firmly rooted in conventional scientific reality, or are you ready to embrace the unconventional? Fascinatingly, Xifeng concludes the original text with this massive cliffhanger. The final sentence abruptly reads, "Here, what I want to declare is," and it just stops. It totally leaves us hanging, forcing us to fill in the blank ourselves and really ponder the boundaries of our own reality. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. I highly encourage you to keep questioning, keep learning, and as always, keep thinking.